Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Zmore, the dad in DPS, and today we are back again with another video. And as you've probably guessed from the location that I'm in, it's not the Rusty Pick, which means we are going to be testing out another of my many weird and wonderful weapons. And today we have one that I've been meaning to use for a while, but I haven't had the build that I thought would give it the viability that it needs. But before we get into that, don't forget to leave a like, a comment and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, helps motivate me and keeps me making these videos. So if you do enjoy them, definitely make sure to do any of those things. So today's video is about a weapon I like to call the ankle biter. Now this is a weapon I can't tell if it's working hard or hardly working. It is an assault rifle. It ignores 50% of your target's armor, so it's an anti-armor. 25% faster fire rate and 15% faster reload. Now in all ways you can look at this is 100% a god roll item. It has an insane fire rate to begin with, add on 25% faster fire rate, and this thing literally just leaks ammo all over the enemy. On top of that, you have that faster reload speed. It doesn't have a slow reload speed to begin with, so it reloads really quickly. But the problem is that it literally bites at the ankle of enemies. It doesn't have the best damage in comparison to some other guns. So I find it slightly underwhelming in terms of that, but at the same time, yeah, it gets the job done due to the sheer overwhelming amount of ammo it pours into the eyes of anything that comes near it. But we will get into that with the testing now, won't we? So yet again, we are using another rifle. I've got a lot of these in the past and I've just not had the build to really utilise them. However, with the recent announcement of the perk machine, I have been literally just spamming perk cards because I'm going to be able to swap builds pretty much at will in the near future, which makes this a very interesting weapon to play around with, well, builds and everything. So I'm getting a load of perk cards, which is giving me the opportunity to use things that typically I didn't have the perks for. But at the same time, the builds aren't complete because the special loadout is not where I want it to be. But as you can see with this weapon, it does a decent amount of damage. Stealthing with it is definitely something I would recommend. It isn't particularly huge amounts of damage. If you were watching my stuff with the railway rifle, it was hitting headshots for like 300 and crits for 700 plus. So this weapon isn't doing that. But at the same time, I'm hitting for 100 and I'm hitting, well, 150, and I'm hitting a lot in a row. So I'm taking out enemies fairly damn quickly without them noticing. This is not a weapon that is going to conserve ammo for definite, but at the same time it's very viable and it is killing stuff on just an average runabout quite easily. And as I said, the build isn't exactly what I'd call complete yet, so there is definitely more to come from this weapon in the near future. I definitely need to get some more specific perks and figure it out a bit more. But the fact that I'm hitting so quickly, I'm also going to be critting quite a lot. It wipes out enemies fairly damn quick. Reloads almost instantaneously, and it's just insane how much bullets you can fire out. So if they ever added some sort of poison bullets or something into the game, it would tick like mad. We'll show you what it's like not stealthed, just to give you a little bit of idea how different the damage is. The problem is it's also not effective as effective at range. On top of that, I've been primarily using it for VATs, but you can get away quite confidently without it being in VATS, but yeah, you run out of ammo pretty quickly, but you do reload pretty quickly as well, so it has some merits. The downside of it is just the lack of damage per shot. I think that's partially because my build isn't quite complete yet, but I just think the gun itself doesn't have the same equivalent damage, and I don't think the anti-armour on it is as effective as Junkies or Bloodied would be. Especially on this character, I think if it was Bloodied, it would be doing significantly more damage in comparison due to all the kind of combination of effects and the low health I tend to play on this build. So yeah, is anti-armour the best choice for this weapon? Probably not. Is it the worst? Definitely not. I mean, there's far worse effects that could be on here. So it's definitely not a bad weapon, just a little bit unoptimized. So the build has a couple of minor changes or major changes depending how you want to look at it. Typically all the strength perks are the same. We have the same kind of perks on here. I have managed to get another expert commando on here, so that has increased our DPS a little bit. Endurance perks are pretty much the same. Charisma perks are pretty much the same. Obviously we can have Tenderizer on at any point. I shouldn't have had Scrapper on there. Nerd Rage should have been the one that was on, though I don't think I'm in range of Nerd Rage at the moment. In the agility tree I have Action Girl on just to give me more of the AP to use. On top of that, we could, in theory, put on Mr. Sandman because it is nighttime and it is a silenced weapon, so that would add another extra amount of damage onto there. However, in the luck tree is where the kind of biggest change is. So I've got Grim Reaper's Sprint on there to restore my VAT points, and then we also have Critical Savvy. Now, this is a perk I'm experimenting with at the moment, and I'm actually finding it to be pretty damn good, especially on my railway rifle. So what it does is every time you use up your critical meter, you basically still have 45% of it left, which means you're not quite, but critting almost twice the amount at a time that you normally would. So yeah, it's definitely adding up in the damage scale. So with this gun, you're doing about 200 odd per critical shot, but you're getting criticals quite often, so it definitely helps with the damage. And the biggest problem I find with VATS, and I could be imagining this, is I think there's a kind of delay between the damage the enemy's receiving and whatnot, so I think technically some of them should die earlier than they actually appear to. So I could be wrong on that, but it's just the way it seems. Like if I was using another gun, they would have already been dead had I done the same amount of damage. Somebody correct me with that if I'm wrong. So as per usual, we are back with Jeff, the super mutant behemoth, who likes bathing his ass in this lake every time we go down there. I honestly don't know why super mutant behemoths love swimming. Must be because they've got a big stinky ass. Anyway, let's see how this does. Now, that is one clip, and he's pretty much dead. 2 clips, and he's dead. Yeah, it minces him pretty effectively, I find. As I said, it uses up a lot of ammo. That's the primary kind of problem, is it's using a lot of ammo, but it can pump a lot of DPS in quite quickly. So not a weapon I would recommend that you use if you're not fond of crafting. So we've got a nice fresh Mirelurk Queen here. Now I have been testing this weapon a little bit on this, and the head is definitely the best way to shoot her with this particular gun. I keep getting more damage with shooting her in the face. So as you can see, that's I think 3 clips, and my VATS has ran down That's the kind of disadvantage of Mirelurk Queens, is they are heavily armoured up the wazoo. But I wouldn't say it's doing particularly bad damage, but at the same time I wouldn't say it is as stunning and amazing as the weapons I've been using in the previous videos. So is this going to allow you to kill a Mirelurk Queen? Yeah, definitely. Is it going to use a hell of a lot of ammo? Yeah. Is it worth it? No, definitely not. For the ammo consumption, it's not worth killing an enemy like Mirelurk Queens. Definitely lighter armoured enemies, but she is just, yeah, what I'm using and what I get out of it is just not comparable. So you can kill things, I just wouldn't recommend it. I think that's going to be even worse against Earl and the Scorch Beast Queen. So if you have this weapon, I just wouldn't recommend using it against those particular enemies. So the biggest problem with this gun is daily ops, in my opinion. As you've seen with a lot of my weapons in the past, I can pretty much farm daily ops for the ammo. However, with this gun, it's a never-ending battle of losing the ammo here. Now, don't get me wrong, in terms of crafting, it is not the hardest of ammos to make, but it is a cost to use it in daily ops. So it's not a weapon that I would recommend using in daily ops in general. Definitely not something that's going to yield you a profit. And this is even with my adrenaline buffs on and all that kind of thing. Maybe if I could stealth my way through daily ops currently, it would be different, but unfortunately it's not the case. So I don't think this is a weapon I will be using in daily ops in the future. Now we are going to see how it does against the big bad boss of this area. Unfortunately, I don't want to get my ass kicked because I'm running this solo currently, but as you can see, it's doing a decent amount of damage to him. But that isn't the problem with the weapon. As you can see, I'm running down my ammo counter fairly quickly trying to take him out, and I actually feel like I'm probably going to have to switch to another weapon. I started this with a similar amount of ammo I do with any of my weapons that I'm testing out. I don't make overly a huge amount, but I'm struggling to maintain the same level of ammo, and as you can see, it's taken quite a lot of bullets to take him out. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of guns that would take even longer to take him out, but I'm actually being forced to swap to Thomas. Oh, Jesus. And I almost died to it. So, yeah, it's a decent gun. It does decent damage, but you need to be fully prepared for running out of ammo constantly. If you're not crafting, why is that flashing like that? If you're not crafting a load of ammo. So in terms of viability, daily ops is not its strong suit. Maybe on the Super Mutant and Blood Eagle days, but certainly not on a robot day. On a robot day, this thing is going to just bleed ammo, whereas, as you can see with my railway rifle, it annihilates. So yeah, don't bring this weapon to daily ops. You are going to, well, you'll have better options surely. So that was today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, a comment and subscribe. And recently a commenter left, well, a comment about how I don't make enough dad jokes. I tend to edit out stupid things that I say, but you know, I'll leave a little dad joke here. So why can't you hear a psychiatrist using the bathroom? Because the P is silent. Da-dum-dum. But yeah, this weapon is very underwhelming. I definitely think there are better options, even within the category of weapon it's in. It's just a very, very, very underwhelming weapon. If it was a combat rifle, a fixer, no doubt it would be so much better. But yeah, it just, gives me a resounding meh. I don't really feel like it's a weapon that I will be using a lot, if at all, personally. It's just very meh. So, yeah, disappointing, but I can't always review good weapons. Don't get me wrong, it's going to get you through your daily grind, you'll be able to kill enemies, it's doing damage, but the ammo efficiency just isn't there. You're going to bleed through 1,000 ammo in no time, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. There's better options, and I'm sure there's easy options to find. Railway rifles, for example, significantly more powerful and significantly more ammo efficient. But with that, we'll catch you next time in the Wasteland.